Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We welcome Hare Krishna. A very warm welcome to all the devotees gathered here for BDD Swami Sanga's online event celebrating 125th Vyasa Puja of A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. A very hearty welcome to one and all. Now I would like to welcome and as well as extend our gratitude to His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Goswami Maharaj, organizer of this event. Maharaj is known for his humility, gravity, and deep knowledge of the scriptures. He is the first African sannyasi and Diksha Guru in ISKCON. He tours and preaches extensively in different parts of the world. He regularly teaches Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav at 𝐒𝐰𝐳𝐿, Vrindavan and Mayapur Institute. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for gracing this event with your divine presence. I would now like to request devotees over there to please welcome Maharaj with garlands.
His Holiness Guru Maharaj is present. For humble obeisances, Maharaj.
A very special welcome to His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, disciple of A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Maharaj has become renowned for the austerities he has accepted, his loyalty and dedication to the Srila Prabhupada's mission, his ability to raise funds and care for devotees around the world. He also teaches at 𝐕IHE and continues to give lecture presentations at Japa retreat workshops around the world. I now request devotees present over there to please welcome Maharaj with garlands. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And now I would like to request all the devotees present over there to please welcome His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Goswami Maharaj with garlands. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Before we begin, I seek your permission to commence the event.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Before we begin, a few quick announcements to be made for different language translations. Over to you, Yogini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So today we will have some speakers from Brazil and they will be speaking in Portuguese. So we are offering live language interpretation into English. And in order for you to be able to listen to the English interpretation, we kindly ask all of you now to please click on the globe that you see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. If you're on the desktop or on a laptop, as soon as you click on this globe icon, you will see a drop-down menu. Please click on the English channel and then done, and you will be able to hear the original audio as well as the English interpretation. For those of you who are using mobile phones, please click on the more icon, those 3 little dots that you see on your phone, then click on language interpretation, and then please select the language of your choice, in this case, English. And then you will also be able to hear the English interpretation as well as the original audio. Now I'll make the announcements in the Portuguese language. Thank you so much. Queridos devotos, Hare Krishna, hoje teremos alguns palestrantes falando em português. Então, a outra parte do evento, que será em inglês, teremos a tradução para o português. Então, para você ouvir a tradução em português, por favor, clique no globo, nesse globo que você encontra no canto inferior da tela, no canto inferior direito da tela. Por favor, clique na língua português, que aí você vai no canal de português, e aí você conseguirá ouvir tanto o áudio original quanto a interpretação. Para aqueles que estão usando o celular, por favor, clique no ícone mais, nos 3 pontinhos, e aí clique em Language Interpretation, ou interpretação de línguas. Você vai ver e abrirá um menu, e por favor, clique na língua português, para assim você conseguir ouvir a interpretação simultânea em português. Muito obrigada, thank you very much.
And now, before we commence, a quick look at the session for today. How to take shelter of one more merciful than he. We'll be having a talk by His Holiness 𝐤𝐬𝐬 Swami Maharaj, followed by musical Prabhupada, we love you, and all merciful Srila Prabhupada, followed by the offerings by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And after that, we are going to have Prabhupada speaks on Be Simply Follow. And after that, very soon we are going to have offering continued by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Last but not the least, spiritual master of the spiritual masters by His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. Thank you so much. And the very special, interesting segment is the quiz. The top 3 devotees, consistent devotees for all the 5 sessions will get a very special prize in the form of a special quiz prize. So now we would like to begin our session. So now we would like to invite. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for everything. And now after the very special segment, we now proceed with our offerings, dear devotees. Our very eminent and distinguished speaker beginning the session is His Holiness 𝐤𝐬𝐬 Swami Maharaj, speaking on the topic, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he? 𝐤𝐬𝐬 Maharaj was born as Glenn Philip Triton, the only son of respected Chicago lawyer, who was later appointed judge in April 1969. While studying at Brandeis University in Boston, he met his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, from whom he felt that he learned more in one brief exchange than he had learned in many, many years of academic education. After graduating, he accepted formal initiation from Srila Prabhupada and received the spiritual name Giriraj Das. In 1972, Prabhupada appointed Maharaj as President ISKCON Bombay and Trustee of BBT. Since then, he has made many significant contributions to Srila Prabhupada's mission, most notably overseeing all aspects of development of Hare Krishna land in Jugu, Bombay. He was instrumental in acquisition and development of Bhaktivedanta Ashram in Govardhan and led the development of Sankirtan Ashram, especially for women, the Bhaktivedanta Hospice, and the Vrindavan Institute of Palliative Care, all in Vrindavan. In the year following Srila Prabhupada's departure in 1977, Maharaj was awarded the Renounced Order of Life and appointed President of ISKCON's Board of Trustees in India. In 1982, he was appointed to ISKCON's GBC and he went on to oversee the Society's activities in Bombay, Mauritius, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Presently based in Carpinteria, California, Maharaj is now focusing on one of the main personal instructions is received from Srila Prabhupada to write. He is the author of many books, and the recent one being I'll Build Your Temple, the Juhu story about Prabhupada's effort in Bombay. So we now invite His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. We welcome you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that nice introduction. I would like to change the topic of my talk from what you had written to a different topic. And the new topic will be finding my perfect master. So I'll begin by singing the Mangalacharna prayers and leading a short kirtan, and then I will speak about Srila Prabhupada. Eham Sriyuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Savana Raghunatham Vitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Salita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Satasya Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Satasya Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So before I begin, I would like to request all the devotees with us on Zoom, as far as possible, to put on your cameras so we can see your moon-like faces, and it's more personal. And again, the topic is finding my perfect master. I reconsidered, and the topic will be finding my perfect master. So during my college years, I had the idea to attain perfection, and I began reading spiritual books and learned I needed a guru, someone who could bring me to an enlightened state of consciousness. So whenever I heard about a guru anywhere, even 1,000 miles away, I would go to meet him. One teacher I met was a Zen master, supposedly enlightened and certified by another enlightened master in Japan. I had read his book, The 3 Pillars of Zen, and he was holding a 3-day retreat at his ashram in Rochester, New York. So I went. Upon my arrival there, I found that his students were not very happy. But I thought, anyway, they're just students. Let me meet the master. During the retreat, he held a meditation session in which everyone had to sit up very straight and look at the wall, concentrating on some object he gave us. The master walked around with a stick, and if he thought any of us was falling asleep or that his or her mind was wandering, he would hit us. After one such session, some of his students asked him about his recently having become angry. Yes, it's true, he said. I lost my temper. I shouldn't have. I started to doubt whether he was my guru. But because I had read that a Zen master might appear ordinary and that one might not recognize him, I thought, maybe this is part of it. But my doubt remained. Later, he came to Boston, near Brandeis University, where I was in my last year as a psychology major. After his talk and demonstration, someone in the audience asked him about Vedanta. I have enough trouble keeping up with Zen, he answered. How do you expect me to know about Vedanta? My previous doubt was confirmed. I understood he is not my perfect master. Then a Hatha yogi came to Brandeis to give a lecture. He had long hair and a beard and flowing robes. He said that by yoga, you could attain complete mastery over your bodily functions, including the movement of your bowels. You could actually command your intestines, ascending colon advance, transverse colon advance, descending colon advance, and finally, rectum pass. I was really looking for a guru, so I thought, anyway, maybe. After the lecture, I tried to meet the Swami, but he was leaving for the airport. I wanted to ride with him in his car, but there was no room. Instead, I rode in a car with some of his students. On the way, they discussed the various foods they missed since they had joined the ashram. So I started to have some doubts. But then I thought, anyway, they're just the students. The master may be on a much higher level. Then, when we arrived at the airport, I beheld the Swami. There he was, long flowing hair, beard, draping orange robes, a flower in his hair, a twinkle in his eyes. The very picture of Indian spirituality. But then I saw him tightly embracing his women disciples. And then I knew he is not my perfect master. I have to keep looking. Next, I heard of an enlightened, or so-called enlightened, psychology professor who was teaching at Antioch College in Ohio, which was known as a progressive university. I wanted to meet him immediately. Ready to do anything to find my guru, I got in my car and drove the 700 miles. When I arrived, with great anticipation and eagerness, I searched out the professor's office and inquired about him from his secretary. She informed me, he's playing golf. Playing golf? I asked incredulously. I thought he was supposed to be enlightened. That is his Zen, she replied. Oh no, I thought, playing golf? He is not my perfect master. Although I was disappointed about the professor, the Antioch campus was full of people interested in spiritual life. And while I was there, I spoke with some of them. Some of the students in the student union told me about a Swami who had recently visited the campus. The guru is in the heart, he had said, where he sits on a lotus flower. You can actually see him and speak with him. Wow, I thought, that sounded attractive. That night, I really tried to focus on my heart. And indeed, I got a very strong impression that there was a divine personality there with whom I could have a sublime personal relationship. And he seemed just about to speak. I was very excited and I became eager to meet him. Back at Brandeis, my psychology professor had invited J. Krishnamurti to speak. I attended his lecture, and during a break, I told my professor I wanted to meet him. Why? My professor asked. I may want him to be my guru, I replied. Oh, he doesn't accept disciples, my professor said. He doesn't even touch money. My professor was impressed, but I wasn't. I thought if he is actually able to help people, why should he refuse just to be renounced? He is not my perfect master. Still, I kept searching. I had gotten the idea from reading books that you don't have to find your guru or choose him. He is already there. All I had to do was recognize him. I even had a mental picture of what my guru looked like, and he didn't have hair. All the swamis and yogis I had encountered had long hair and beards. So I was starting to despair. How am I ever going to meet my guru? Then one day I saw a poster on campus. Lecture, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Swami Bhaktivedanta. Although my friends and I were supposed to go to the movies that night, I wanted to attend the lecture instead. When I suggested that, however, one friend in particular got really upset. "Why can't you be normal like other people?" she complained. "All you want to do is see swamis and yogis." And the argument became so intense that I decided not to go. I didn't want to disappoint my friends, so I tried to go along with their idea. But there was something inside me that kept impelling me to go to the lecture. Finally, I said, "Okay, we'll go to a later show. First, I have to go to the lecture by the Swami. I promise this will be the last one I ever go to." My friends reluctantly came along, but because we had been arguing, we arrived at the auditorium late and missed the lecture. Entering the auditorium, I beheld an elderly Indian gentleman sitting on a cushion on stage, Swami Bhaktivedanta. As soon as I saw him, two things struck me. He was so effulgent, I could hardly focus on his form. And he had no hair. He was clean shaven. To his side, a young devotee, Satsvarupa Das, sang into a microphone, and other devotees were dancing in a circle around the Guru. Satsvarupa was singing right into the microphone, and the sound was reverberating off all the bare brick walls. One by one, students from the audience jumped onto the stage and joined in. And I also felt like going up, but I knew my friends wouldn't approve. That would have been too much. More students were jumping up, climbing on the stage, and joining the circle, dancing. I kept trying to focus my eyes on the Guru, but I couldn't. His effulgence was too great. When the kirtan ended, Satsvarupa announced from the stage that if anyone was driving to Boston or Harvard Square, the devotees needed a lift. As my friends and I were still going to the movie, and it was at Harvard Square, I invited the devotees to ride with us. And everyone piled into my red Rambler station wagon. I was the driver, and also in front were two ladies. In the back seat were 3 or 4 devotees, and in the rear compartment, I don't even know how many. I don't think we could have fit anyone else. Satsvarupa was squeezed in the rear with my best friend, Gary. Because of our impersonal readings, my friend was saying that ultimately everything is void. And Satsvarupa was saying there is no void in the creation of God. But my friend kept insisting everything is ultimately void. I was overhearing them from the front, and puffed up as I was, I thought, oh, how silly that they are arguing over this. I thought I had it all figured out. So I turned to the back and announced something I had read in a Zen book. It is not void, and it is not void. But to give it a name, we call it the void. I thought that I had resolved the whole controversy, but still they kept arguing. My pronouncement didn't stop them. One of the ladies at the front seat was named Janava. I had been trying to understand all the different paths and philosophies, so I asked her about Zen. She told me, this world seems real, but it is illusory, like images on a movie screen. Now, if you withdraw your consciousness from the screen, you will find that there is a beam of light. And I thought, this is the best explanation I've ever heard, even better than the Zen books. She continued, and if you keep following that beam of light back, you come to a point. I thought, wow, this is getting to the void. But then she said, but behind that point, there is a projector. And behind the projector, there is a person. Then I thought, this philosophy encompasses everything that Zen does and more. Then I asked her about Yogananda, as I had read his book, Autobiography of a Yogi. She dismissed him out of hand. Oh, he is just a shopkeeper. Whatever you want, he keeps in stock. You want yoga, he will give you that. Whatever you ask for, he pulls off the shelf. Then she said, at his ashram in California, he has a Gandhi Peace Memorial. But Gandhi wasn't a worker for world peace. He was just a politician who wanted to drive the British out of India. She just dismissed Yogananda. He doesn't even know who Gandhi is. I thought, she is speaking with such authority. But I sensed it couldn't all be coming from her. How was it possible for a young girl of 20 or so years to have so much knowledge and speak with such authority? But she did have authority, and I knew it wasn't coming from her. Then I thought, this must be coming from her teacher. I want to meet him. When we arrived at Harvard Square, I let the devotees out. But as I was about to drive away, I realized I didn't know how to get in touch with them. How would I meet the guru? I immediately stopped the car at the center of Harvard Square, jumped out, and ran after them. I caught up to one, Petit Pavan. When he stopped, he turned his head and pointed to the crowd around us. You see these people, he said, they're all sleepwalkers. They don't know what they're doing or why. They're just conforming. His words were so intriguing and deep. I wanted to hear more. Suddenly, I became aware of the honking of horns all around me. I had left my car in the middle of the roundabout, and the traffic at Harvard Square was backed up. The honking kept getting louder. I want to meet the guru, I said quickly. Quick, give me the address. Come at 7, he said, tomorrow night. I could hardly wait. The next evening when I arrived, the small storefront temple was packed with young people. At the far end, Srila Prabhupada sat on a cushion. The walls were decorated with exotic paintings, and the aroma of incense filled the air. When he began speaking, I had difficulty understanding what he was saying. He had a thick Bengali accent, and the philosophy was new to me. But I did hear him say that out of many thousands of men, one will seek perfection. That's me, I thought. He's talking about me. So now I will take a break for a minute and be right back.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, any queries, please mention the chat box to ask your servant. Thank you.
On September 17, 1965, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada arrived in Boston, America on board the ship Jaladuta, carrying within his heart the orders of his spiritual master to spread the teachings of Sri Chaitanya beyond the borders of India throughout the entire world. As he looked out upon Boston's bleak and dirty skyline, he could understand the difficulty of this sacred mission and felt great compassion for these godless people.
Okay. So, yes, so I had just come to the small storefront temple, which was packed with young people. And I heard Srila Prabhupada say that out of many thousands of men, one will seek perfection. And I thought, that's me. He's talking about me. After the lecture, Srila Prabhupada called for questions. Someone asked him, since everything comes from God or Krishna, does Maya also come from Krishna? Srila Prabhupada replied that everything comes from Krishna, just like everything comes from the sun. The cloud also comes from the sun, although it covers our vision of the sun. But the sun is never covered by the cloud, only our vision is covered. Burning to ask my question, I raised my hand. There are so many swamis and yogis, I began, and each recommends a different process of self-realization. And each says that his is the best. So how do I know which is actually best? Prabhupada responded, what is your goal? Do you want to serve God or do you want to become God? How brilliant, how perfect. I was asking about the means, but to determine the best means, we must first establish the end, the goal. Srila Prabhupada continued, when you seek after God, God, who is situated within your heart, will give you all facility. But if you want to become God, you will be cheated. You are cheating yourself. How can you become God? You are trying to become God. God is always God. The Mayavadi philosopher says, I am God, but by Maya, I am thinking I am not God. So by meditation, I shall become God. But that means he is under the punishment of Maya. God has come under the influence of Maya? How is that? God is great. And if he is under the influence of Maya, then Maya becomes greater than God. So the idea is that as long as we shall continue this hallucination that I am God, there's no question of getting the favor of God. Then you do your own business and try to find out yourself whether you are God or something else. But as soon as I think I am God, I am cheating myself. Who will help you? That is going on. Everyone is thinking, I am God. So, what you are thinking, you are trying to become God? What is your idea? Or you're thinking there is no God? I'm thinking that there is God, I replied. There is God. You are thinking like that? But I knew I couldn't cheat him, so I replied, yes. But I can see that I was trying to become God. So, you are trying to become God. That means you are not God. How can not God become God? Your conclusion should be that I am not that God who is great. I am a different God who is sometimes not God. Therefore, you are a different God from that God who is great. Is it not? That is a fact. Because you are part and parcel of God, you are minute God. Therefore, you have the potency of becoming not God. Just like a fire and a spark of the fire. A spark, when it is in the fire, is bright fire. But as soon as it goes out of the fire, it becomes extinguished. But the big fire never becomes extinguished. Similarly, you are not that big fire. You are that small spark. You have fallen down. Therefore, you are not God. Now raise yourself again to the fire, and you will again be a blazing spark. So that is the difference. That is stated in the Vedic literature. Every living entity is Brahman, but the supreme Brahman is Krishna. He never becomes not God. We see in Krishna's life, when he was a child on the lap of his mother, he was God. So many demons he killed. He didn't have to meditate to become God. While he was playing, he was God. And when he was fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was God. That is God. Not sometimes not God, sometimes God. That is not God. God is always God in any circumstance. That is God. As Srila Prabhupada was speaking, I got the clear impression that he knew everything about me, that he was seeing right into me, into Waltham, into my apartment, into my bathroom, right to the wall on which I had pasted a sign I had inscribed in beautiful ornate lettering, "You are God." My search was over. I offered my obeisances. I had found my perfect master. The devotees put their heads on the floor and offered obeisances. I also kept my head on the floor in surrender for a long time. I felt so glad. I had finally found my perfect master and wanted to surrender fully. At the same time, I also felt ashamed and humiliated. My abominable desire to become God had been exposed. Everyone there knew I had wanted to become God. So I kept my head down for a long time because I was afraid that if I looked up, I would see all the people glaring at me that he wanted to become God. After some time, I heard sounds indicating that devotees were bringing plates of food, prasad, to their guests. Something inside prompted me to look up. I expected that everyone would be glaring at me, but no. People were blissfully taking prasad, and when they saw me get up, they simply smiled. Moments earlier, when a devotee had offered Prabhupada a large plate of prasad, he had responded, "I am not God. I cannot eat so much." The prasad I was given looked just like everything else in the temple, colorful, attractive, and variegated. Because of macrobiotics and other speculations, I never expected a feast. Where to begin? I picked up what must have been a cauliflower pakora, put it in my mouth, bit into it, and felt an explosion of taste. One by one, I sampled the preparations: butter, sweet rice, every taste new, incomparable. I thought that everything was perfect: the guru, the food, the chanting. I loved the chanting. When the devotees had a sign with the Hare Krishna mantra written in Indian style lettering. During the kirtan, as I was looking at the letters on the sign, they started to move, dissolve, form, and unform themselves. These were the signs I had been looking for, and everything indicated that this was it. From the time Srila Prabhupada answered my question and bowed my head, from the time Srila Prabhupada answered my question and I bowed my head, I surrendered. From that first meeting, my whole life's purpose became to bring people to Srila Prabhupada, to meet Srila Prabhupada. And I was able to do that for many years. But when he passed away, I wondered, what will be my service now? My whole service had been to bring people to Srila Prabhupada. Now I understand that Srila Prabhupada is always present, and that by speaking of him, hearing about him, remembering him, and most significantly, by studying his books and following his instructions, by practicing and preaching Krishna consciousness, we can experience his presence. so I can continue doing what I was doing when Srila Prabhupada was personally present, introducing souls to him, which is what I feel most natural doing. Because I know that somehow or other, if someone comes in touch with Srila Prabhupada, his life will be successful. Srila Prabhupada 𝐾𝐻. So thank you for inviting me for this auspicious occasion, the celebration of Srila Prabhupada's 125th appearance anniversary. And yes, giving me the opportunity to remember and glorify my perfect master. So, Hare Krishna. Now, if there's time, we can take questions and comments, reflections from the devotees.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for this wonderful talk, starting with how it was important to read the scriptures, which lead us to know who is the real Guru, like we heard in your case, and most importantly, the eagerness, the ardent desire to have and find a spiritual master that made you drive over 700 miles. And if we are sincere, Krishna genuinely helps us, like the way Maharaj found the billboard of Srila Prabhupada lecture on Bhagavad Gita as it is, and how Srila Prabhupada exactly knew what was there in everyone's heart, and how Maharaj, we see by your example that how surrender brings the content. And of course, our ISKCON is indeed perfect in everything. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for making us feel Srila Prabhupada's presence. Thank you once again so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, we have one question from one of our devotees. Shall I take that question?
Yes.
This question is from Adhut Narasimha Haridas. Dear Maharaj, my humble obeisances, Jai Srila Prabhupada. I always ask this when I have the honor of meeting a direct disciple of Prabhupada. Today we know who Prabhupada was and what Krishna consciousness is. But at the time you met Prabhupada, everything was very new to Westerners. What prompted you to surrender to Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness at that time? And what was it like to be physically close to the saint Srila Prabhupada?
Well, as for what prompted me to surrender, I did speak about that in my talk, and I hope this devotee heard the talk. But in brief, I asked Srila Prabhupada a question, that there's so many swamis and yogis, and each one recommends a different process of self-realization. And each one says that his is best. So how do I know which is actually best? And Srila Prabhupada replied in the most brilliant way. He asked me the question, what is your goal? Do you want to serve God or do you want to become God? Because I was asking about the means, but the means to what end? Srila Prabhupada was asking the more basic question, what is your goal? Then we can consider what is the best means to reach the goal. So basically, he convinced me that I was not God and that I could not become God. And so I surrendered to Prabhupada, and through surrendering to Srila Prabhupada, I surrendered to God, to Krishna. And so many things struck me about Srila Prabhupada. But since we're talking about those early days when I first met him in Boston, I will relate one incident that really impressed me. At the time, the devotees didn't own any motor vehicles. And I had my Red Rambler station wagon. And so I began to drive Srila Prabhupada and the devotees to programs. And there was one program at the Harvard Divinity School. And, I drove, and, as always, Srila Prabhupada spoke beautifully. And after he spoke, he asked for questions. And these students, at Harvard University were very smart. And so immediately many hands went up with questions. So one student asked that, you say that by chanting all problems will be solved. But in Russia, there were so many problems, and there were people who were going around chanting the name of Jesus, but the problems were not solved. The problems were solved when there was a revolution. So Srila Prabhupada replied that since the revolution, have the people in Russia become happy? And the boy had to admit, no, they're not happy. And Srila Prabhupada replied, then what is the use of such revolution? So then another student said, you say that we should repeat the Hare Krishna mantra, but couldn't you get the same result by repeating anything? Say, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And Srila Prabhupada replied, of course, that is not possible. But if you like, you can try counting. And when you get tired of counting, you can try chanting. So, one by one, Srila Prabhupada was, he was just disposing of their questions and challenges. Then one student asked, have you seen God? And Srila Prabhupada replied, if I tell you falsely that I have seen God, will you believe me? And the student said, no. And Prabhupada said, then what is the use of such a question? So one by one, he was just, defeating all these, bright Harvard students with their different questions and challenges. And so after the program, I sort of stayed in the hall, just listening to what the students were saying after Srila Prabhupada's presentation. And then suddenly, one of the devotees came rushing up to me and affectionately imitating Srila Prabhupada's voice said, so where's the driver? And then I realized, oh my God, I have to drive Srila Prabhupada back to the temple. So I rushed out to the car and, let Srila Prabhupada in. I was in the driver's seat and he was next to me and the devotees were, crowded in the back. and I started driving back to the temple. And I tried to remember how to get there, but when I had driven from the temple to Harvard University for the program, it was during daylight. So I could find my way easily, but now it was dark. I've tried to go the way I thought I was supposed to go, but I realized that actually we were lost. So I turned to the devotees in the car and I asked, does anyone know the way back? And Prabhupada turned to me and said, is not the driver supposed to know the way? So I thought, oh my God, I didn't know I was the driver and I had duties. I just thought I was, being a good guy and offering to drive. But I realized my error. Is not the driver supposed to know the way? So eventually, the devotees all contributed their ideas and we made it back to the temple. And when we arrived there, I rushed out and opened Srila Prabhupada's door. And I said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry that I got us lost on the way back. And Srila Prabhupada looked at me with such affection and compassion. And he simply said, that's all right. And that really touched my heart because I had seen how he had demolished all these brilliant students at Harvard University. He could have demolished me as easily as anything, but he didn't. He was very, kind and compassionate and merciful. And he said, that's all right. And it was a further confirmation that, I had found my perfect master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this wonderful answer. Maharaj, we have one more question. May I take up that question?
Yes.
This question is from Ananteshwar Das Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat. As now there are many grand and great grand disciples in our movement, I would like you to please let us know how do we please Srila Prabhupada while trying to please our spiritual master?
Yes, that's a good question. Srila Prabhupada, as we all know, is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And so he's the supreme authority in ISKCON and the foundational Shiksha Guru of all devotees in ISKCON. So our spiritual masters are Srila Prabhupada's servants. They're meant to be his representatives. And so by serving them, we are meant to be serving Srila Prabhupada. In fact, by serving them, we are serving Srila Prabhupada. So there shouldn't be any contradiction or duality between serving our spiritual master and serving Srila Prabhupada. If there is some contradiction or duality, it means there's something wrong. But in principle, there should be no duality or contradiction. And I think by and large, that is the case. So yeah, this is parampara. Srila Prabhupada served his Guru Maharaj, and we're serving Srila Prabhupada, and our disciples are serving us, but it's all in the same line. And ultimately, it's all a service to Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna, and that is bhakti. Bhakti means to please Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, everyone is pleased. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for this wonderful, mesmerizing answer. Maharaj, we have one more last question for the day. If you permit, can you take it up?
Please do.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. This question is from Kanai Dulal Das. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. I got to hear that your father met Srila Prabhupada and gave him a blank check to him to leave you. We would love to hear this pastime from you if you don't mind.
That's also a nice story. Yes, when I was in Calcutta, it was like this. When we first went to India, we didn't have any place of our own. So we were just staying at different friends' homes and accepting different invitations to programs in different places. And then eventually, Srila Prabhupada got that place in Calcutta, which we still have. And my parents came to meet me. And I was quite apprehensive. I didn't know how I would deal with them. But Srila Prabhupada instructed me that I must spend time with them. They're coming all the way to meet you. You must spend time with them. So at one stage, they came into the temple to meet Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada spoke with them so expertly. He really, in a way, won them over. He began by saying that when he was in Allahabad, he had a pharmacy. And one of his customers in his pharmacy was Motilal Nehru, who was the father of Jawaharlal Nehru. And he said that the Nehrus were, quote, made in England, end quote, people. Srila Prabhupada might have the same product manufactured in India, the exact same product and the same product manufactured in England. And the one from England cost double or triple or whatever the cost of the product manufactured in India. But they would always take the one manufactured in England, paying more. And he also said that Motilal Nehru said that his son Jawaharlal was useless. So he was thinking of giving him to the freedom movement. So by Srila Prabhupada's relating these incidents, he was, in a subtle way, working on my father's prejudices, that something made in England would be better than something made in India, or that Jawaharlal Nehru, having become the first prime minister of India, must be someone great. So it began like that. And then my father came to the point that he wanted me back. So that was his concern. And my mother's concern was about my health, because I was, fairly thin then. So my father said to Srila Prabhupada that, that I want to establish a trust for my son and put $1 million in it, which back then was a lot more than it is now. Even now it's a lot, but back then it was much more. And so he said he wanted me to come back to America to sign the documents. And Srila Prabhupada replied, yes, you can send the documents here and he will sign. So then my mother, she was worried about my health. And back then people had the idea, they often had the idea that if you don't eat meat, you won't get enough protein. And Srila Prabhupada always kept sweets on his table to distribute. And being Calcutta, he had, I don't know if it was rasgulla or sandesh, but let's say sandesh. So he said to my parents that, these sweets are made from cheese. They're very high in protein. And he distributed like into the hands of my parents, some sandesh. And then he turned to me and said, Giriraj, you must eat 2 dozen rasgulla and sandesh every day. This is an instruction I'm still working on. I haven't quite got there, but I'm working on it. So, but then again, they brought up the point about my coming to America. And Srila Prabhupada said, let him stay with me for now. And when I come to America in the summer, I will bring him with me. So I said, just see how intelligent Srila Prabhupada is. When the weather is pleasant in India during the winter, he's in India, he stays in India. And when it gets too hot in India and the weather is pleasant in the West during the summer, he goes to America. I was saying, just see how intelligent Srila Prabhupada is. And Srila Prabhupada said to my father, no, your son is intelligent because he has understood my strategy. And then my father, he was becoming very enlivened by Srila Prabhupada's association. And he said to Srila Prabhupada, no, actually, you are very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, I guess I must be intelligent. Otherwise, how could I attract so many intelligent young men like your son? So it was sort of settled up like that. That my parents came in October, so it sort of settled up like that. I would remain with Srila Prabhupada until, until the spring or summer, and then come with him to America. So everyone was pleased, and as as we were leaving the room, my father said to me, I can say 2 things about your master. He's a brilliant organizer, and he really knows how to deal with people. And in my father's value system, those were the 2 highest compliments that he could pay to anyone. So after some time, I went to Madras. I was actually the first devotee to go to Madras. And in Madras, I stayed at different people's homes and eating all those nice idlis and dosas and sambar and whatnot. And I did also stay in the home of some Marwaris. I also ate at good Marwari khana. And so I put on weight. And eventually I arranged a program for Srila Prabhupada, and he came to Madras, and he saw that I'd put on weight, and he remembered my mother's concern. Srila Prabhupada was so kind and considerate. So he said I should take a picture of myself and send it to my mother, so she would see that I'd gained weight and that I was healthy. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada 𝐾𝐻.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for this wonderful answer. Maharaj, if you permit, we have one more question from Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can we take it? He's going to ask you, can we take it up?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's not a question, it's just a comment. I just want to say all glories to Srila Prabhupada's perfect son, His Holiness 𝐺𝐤𝐳 Swami. Hari Hari Bo.
That was completely off topic, but I appreciate your kind thoughts. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Dear devotees, now we will have a video playing on your screens about Juhu story based on the book I'll Build You a Temple. So here it is on your screen.
We had a very big struggle in Bombay on our land. So they wanted to break our temple to drive us. But I pray simply, Krishna, my dear Krishna, anyway, you have come here, you are sat down here. It will be great insult if you are removed from this. And we own the battle. Now the land is ours.
Thank you so much. It was indeed a mesmerizing video based I'll Build You a Temple. Everyone should read this book. One of the most important books about Srila Prabhupada is about Srila Prabhupada and his Leela of years of heartbreak, struggle in Juhu, Bombay. No one could write this book like His Holiness 𝐺𝐤𝐳 Swami Maharaj. Dear devotees, to order your copies, please contact your respective zones. And now we have a beautiful musical offering by Nanda Thakurani and Nanda Nandani, children of Her Grace Paritoshini Mataji. Here it goes, a beautiful musical presentation.
Lotus feet giving me such shelter. Lotus hands brush my tears away. Lotus eyes soothing my broken heart. You rescue me from my endless pain. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam. Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Gangara Parasha Pashtate Bhavanda Prabhupada Patita Pavan.
Hare Krishna. Today I'm gonna sing a Prabhupada song. Prabhupada went to America with a trunk of books. He chanted Hare Krishna and we all became like books. Prabhupada, we love you. Prabhupada says he knows chanting Hare Krishna is the process that he gave us. Prabhupada preached all the cities to all those who listen. So let's chant Hare Krishna and express Chaitanya's mission. Prabhupada, we love you. Prabhupada said he knows chanting Hare Krishna is the process that he gave us. Prabhupada taught us again to eat and clean and cool. He told us all we need to know can be found in his books. Prabhupada, we love you. Prabhupada said he knows chanting Hare Krishna is the process that he gave us. Prabhupada said just time went to Krishna's place. So let's pray for his mercy, then we never stray away. Prabhupada, we love you. Prabhupada said he knows chanting Hare Krishna is the process that he gave us. Tonight, Srila Prabhupada, Ki-Jai. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving Krishna and the prasadam and the friends and the devotees and the temples and the flowers and the dances and everything.
Jaya Prabhupada Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam Jaya Srila Prabhupada Gangara Parashahoile Pashtate Pavandarshane Pavitra Koro Tumaragun Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavan.
Ariyama, Hamama, Ari Ari, Alabatu Tatai, Badu Tatai, Badu Tatai, Badu Tatai, Badu Da, Badu Da, Badu Da Da Japa.
Thank you so much. It was indeed a very wonderful presentation, musical presentation by little children. This ends the first part of the offerings. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And now we have the second part of the offering. And for this, I would like to invite my co-MC, His Grace 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐭𝐢 Swami Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Saki Jivani Mataji, thank you very, very much. And thank you, my humble obeisances to all the assembly of devotees. Please accept our Dandavat Pranam to each and every one of you. And again, thank you for all for being present here with us on the online Vyasa Puja celebration of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you very, very much to the both Maharajas that are presently here with us. We're very, very grateful and we're very, very joyful. So moving on with today's schedule, we are going to be inviting the person in His Grace, Matsya Das Prabhu. Matsya Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj, and he kind of like received his first initiation in the year 2012, and he has served in various managerial positions as the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vriksha leader, and also as the Gauranitai leader, manager at Goranita at Port Alegre. And His Grace Master Prabhu is a very wonderful artist and an illustrator. Master Prabhu, we're very, very joyful to have you here with us today. And the screen is all yours. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm still smiling because of the kids' presentation. It was so wonderful.
Yes, indeed.
So, okay, I will read my offering then. So, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, I first offer my most humble obeisances to my Gurudev, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami. And then I offer my obeisances to His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, so that by their mercy and the mercy of all the wonderful Vaishnavas, my words may be heard by your divine grace. Your appearance in this world is an auspicious event and not at all ordinary. There are innumerable universes, countless planets undergoing different realities of material existence. Millions of years have passed since the creation of this particular world, and thousands of years are yet to come before its certain end. How could one calculate the odds of your appearing in this world in this particular time? It's surely not by chance nor by accident. It is undoubtedly your causeless mercy upon the fallen conditional souls, and a fantastic arrangement designed by the Supreme Lord. How fortunate are we? The Lord has sent you, who is the embodiment of all auspiciousness. In this dark age of Kali, which is known for deteriorating all the good qualities of human beings, you came as the shining moon, who overshines all other insignificant little stars. One could say you are like the sun, who brings light, heat, and life, dissipating the night's shadow. When the gross materialism has overtaken the minds of people in general, you preach about simple living and high thinking. As lust increases in people's heart and the desire to exploit and abuse is mistaken as power, you are showing the ways of pure love and the power of loving in selflessness. When impersonalism philosophy is being widely distributed, you are presenting a living God, full of wondrous activities and deep, complex emotions, and whose spiritual body is extensively described in the scriptures and adored in loving service by his surrendered devotees. In a time where the world was starting the phenomena of globalization, communication in form of music, television, and radio took place. By following the instructions of your guru, your agenda is to globalize us with the spiritual world. The chanting of the holy name is the phone you gave us so that we can call home, is the radio station which can cure our diseased heart, and is the actual spirit music we shall listen to. Despite the rareness and uniqueness of your appearance, somehow we are tied to you by the sweet ropes of Krishna consciousness. It's an eternal bond which has no influence of time, and it's our duty to present your mission henceforth so that many generations to come can also be forever tied to you in love and service. Thank you for being our forever well-wisher, your servant Matsyadas. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and be giving my offering.
Thank you very, very much, Master Prabhu. We're very, very grateful to you. Yes, indeed, Srila Prabhupada is the son that brightens and shines in the life of each and every one of us. Well, I'm very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, because if he has not come to shine his light, I don't think a foolish person like me would be here today, being able to glorify or to be present here in the midst of all devotees like you. Neither do I even think I'm going to be able to have the mercy of my spiritual master. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, but above all also, thank you, Srila Gurudev. All right, so now we're moving on to our next speaker, in the person of Her Grace, Chandra Valley Devidasi. Chandra Valley Devidasi Mataji, she is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj, my god sister, and also Mataji. She is affiliated. She became interested in Krishna consciousness. Actually, she has been part of Krishna conscious society from childhood, but truly became more serious with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness at her age of in the year 2011, and she received her first initiation in 2012 and her second initiation in 2017. Currently, Mataji is serving as a Pujari in New Vrindavan, New ISKCON Villa, Vrindavan, in Florence, Italy. And Mataji, the screen is all yours. Thank you very, very much for being present with us today.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shri Ati Bhakti Dhira Nanda Moderati Namine, Yati Shri Bhakti Tirtasya Guna Bhavanu Vartine, Sarvada Sarva Bhaktanam Sarvaraksha Pradaine, Shri Radhe Krishna Gauranga Gaisi Sarvada Prabhu, Nityananda Kripamurti Pranamami Punapuna, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shri Mati Bhakti Tirta Swami Tinamine, Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shri Tatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirti Tinamine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gaura Vani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Paschate Dishatarine. Hare Krishna. Muito obrigada pela oportunidade. Vou ler minha oferenda. Meu querido Srila Prabhupada, por favor, aceite as minhas humildes e respeitosas reverências. Todas as glórias sejam a você, ó Guru de todo o universo. Todas as glórias sejam a você, ó Salvador dos mais caídos. Todas as glórias sejam a você, ó grande general do Senhor Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna. Just a quick notice to so many of you that might not understand, Mataji will be speaking in Portuguese, and to so many of you that may not understand, you can quickly see on the downside of your screen, there's an interpretation. You can just click on it and you can select the language that you can hear the interpretation as she's giving her offering. Mataji, please, the screen is yours.
Prabhu, para mim aqui não está aparecendo nada agora. Não estou conseguindo ver. Tá dando para me ouvir normal? Ok. I will continue. Sorry. Está tarde, eu estou atrasada. Mas você, que anda lá na frente, de cabeça erguida, guiando o seu exército do amor, diminui o passo. Para por um momento e se volta a mim com um olhar fixo e compassivo. O meu olhar é perdido e não te enxergo claramente, mas ainda assim, pela sua própria misericórdia, eu posso sentir sua presença forte e acolhedora. Enquanto eu me lamento do quanto a vida é difícil, que estou fraca e com dificuldade de seguir em frente, você vem voltando uns passos para trás, em minha direção. E de repente, você, que é tão grande, na medida em que se aproxima, vai diminuindo em tamanho, apenas para estar um pouco mais próximo de mim, que sou menor que uma formiga diante de você. Quando finalmente você está ali perante a mim, vestido e ornado de pura etiqueta Vaishnava, eu, devido a um estado muito baixo de consciência, não sou capaz de prestar minhas devidas orações e reverências, e nem ao menos de realmente ser grata por todas as vezes que você já voltou para me resgatar. Você, porém, não enxerga nenhuma ofensa. Você só continua a emanar sua misericórdia de uma maneira inconcebível. Com algum resquício de sinceridade em meu coração, eu percebo que você sofre com o meu sofrimento de uma maneira tão profunda que seria capaz de trocar de lugar comigo, me aliviando de toda a dor da carga material, para me ver desfrutar da bem-aventurança em consciência de Krishna. Como se você já não tivesse me dado tudo de maravilhoso que eu tenho, mas não consigo enxergar. Você vem, mais uma vez, me dar mais, porque a sua fonte de amor é inesgotável, pois está ligado diretamente à fonte de amor supremo do seu amado Senhor Krishna. Você, então, começa a cantar docemente o Mahamantra Hare Krishna e me puxa pela mão para junto do seu exército, que cantam tão alto que me acordam do meu sono profundo. Eu, então, canto e danço com o coração completamente preenchido de real alegria. Meu desejo agora é servir eternamente os seus servos eternos, que são os soldados desse exército de amor, onde você é o general-chefe do Sr. Chaitanya. Muito obrigada, Srila Prabhupada, por todos os riscos que você viveu para nos trazer o seu tesouro mais precioso. Muito obrigada por jamais desistir, mesmo dos mais caídos, que não teriam nenhuma outra chance de se elevar se não fosse por você. Muito obrigada por todos os livros traduzidos, todos os arquivos, aulas e conteúdos transcendentais que você nos deixou. Muito, muito obrigada pela sociedade perfeita que você fundou para nos proteger e acolher. Você sabe o quão insignificante e desqualificada eu sou. Mas, por favor, Srila Prabhupada, me permita sempre lembrar de você e jamais esquecer de você, te servindo eternamente vida após vida. Sua pequena serva, Chandravali Devidasi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very, very much, Chandravali Devidasi Mataji. Muito, muito obrigado to you and to your family over there. Thank you very, very much for the wonderful offering. Although I don't understand a bit of what you said, but still, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so we're moving on forward now with our next speaker in the person of His Grace, Adbhut Narasimha Hari Das Prabhu. Prabhu sent a video recording and which is going to be played in Portuguese also. So still again, to so many of you that are there with us that might not be able to understand, you can just click on the interpretation, the globe on your screen. There's an interpretation to go to the different channel for you to be able to hear the interpreter translating live to you all. So His Grace Adbhut Narasimha Hari Das Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Prabhu got acquainted with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in the year 1996 during Prabhupada centenary in 1996. And Prabhu is serving and has served and is still serving in various capacities as a Purohita, basically meaning a Vedic priest organizing Vedic rituals for different devotees and different programs and activities. And also Prabhu is a very, very dear friend of my Gurudev, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj. Adbhut Narasimha Prabhu, we're very, very joyful to have you here. So now we're going to be playing the video recording from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvinshesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna, eu sou Adbhuta Narasimha Hari, discípulo de Sua Santidade Jayapataka Swami. Ofereço as minhas respeitosas reverências a todos os Vaishnavas, todas as glórias a Srila Prabhupada. Bem, este ano comemoramos os 125 anos do aparecimento transcendental de Sua Divina Graça A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada é aquela pessoa, aquele homem, aquele devoto, aquele discípulo, aquele mestre, o acharya, o santo que nunca nos decepcionou. Srila Prabhupada nunca irá nos decepcionar. A cada ano que passa, que ganhamos experiência, maturidade e às vezes até conhecimento de novos passatempos e de novos ensinamentos de Srila Prabhupada, vemos cada vez mais a nossa fé em Krishna se fortalecer. Há 125 anos, começou-se uma jornada em que o mundo pode presenciar as previsões do Senhor Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sendo cumprida. O cantar do Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, sendo espalhado em todas as vilas e cidades. Srila Prabhupada nos trouxe a filosofia, o conhecimento, a fé em Krishna. Como ele sempre dizia, ele está vivo e estará sempre vivo em seus livros, também em seus áudios, vídeos e através dos seus maravilhosos discípulos. Assim como todos os outros seguidores, membros da 𝐒𝐭. A todos eles temos o nosso eterno agradecimento, porque eles representam Srila Prabhupada. Aqueles que seguem Srila Prabhupada fielmente são um representante de Srila Prabhupada. E o que Srila Prabhupada fez ao mundo é impagável. É impossível retribuir ao que Srila Prabhupada fez. Como eu posso, em palavras, agradecer o que Srila Prabhupada fez na minha vida? Eu te agradeço, Srila Prabhupada, por ter me guiado, por ter me mostrado a consciência de Krishna, quando eu me encontrava sozinho, e o Senhor me mostrou através dos seus livros. Da mesma forma, o Senhor também me mostrou o meu mestre espiritual, Srila Jayapataka Swami, e também maravilhosos Shikshagurus, como Sua Santidade Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj. Assim como me deu a oportunidade de associação com todos os devotos de Krishna, Vaishnavas, membros da 𝐒𝐭. Então, neste ano tão especial, de comemoração dos 125 anos, nós só temos a dizer que prostramos aos seus pés de lótus e pedimos, Srila Prabhupada, suas bênçãos, para que possamos, todos os próximos anos da nossa vida, continuar seguindo os seus passos, lhe ajudando na sua missão de propagação da consciência de Krishna. Muito obrigado, Srila Prabhupada. Muito, muito obrigado pelo que o Senhor faz por mim, pela minha família, por todos os devotos, pelo mundo inteiro, que mais do que nunca está precisando tanto do seu conhecimento e da sua instrução. E o Senhor as dá todos os dias nas aulas através de seus discípulos e seus seguidores, nos seus livros e disponível até mesmo pela internet em áudio, vídeo. O seu amor por Krishna e, consequentemente, pelos devotos é transmitido de forma tão pura e clara. Você é um 𝐶𝑖𝐸𝐴 Avatara, de fato. E isso nos dá orgulho e felicidade de fazer parte da sua família e de tentar servi-lo de alguma forma. Muito obrigado, Srila Prabhupada. Muito obrigado a todos os devotos. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Muito obrigado to you, Abut Narasimha Das Prabhu. Yes, indeed, truly hearing what you said, it is very, very profound what Srila Prabhupada has done. The family has given to us, the philosophy he has given to us, the food, the people, the festival, everything that he has given to us. Just one muito obrigado is not enough, but a million muito obrigado to Srila Prabhupada for everything he has done for us. So thank you again, Prabhu, just following your footsteps. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to the assembly of devotees. Okay, so now we have come to a junction whereby now we are going to where the test of how knowledgeable you are about Srila Prabhupada, where the test of how familiar you are about the activities and the things that Srila Prabhupada does, how familiar are you with these activities. Now it has come to a point where it is going to be tested in the form of a quiz. And let's see how fast your fingers are and how quick you are to be able to read this. So where this quiz is divided into 3 sections. One is a visual quiz, one is a video quiz, and the other is a visual quiz. All right, so you are going to be seeing the polls on your screen. Type faster. Don't worry, there's a beautiful, wonderful gift for you at the end of this section. Do not worry, you're going to get it. So now the first question is as follows. Please look at your screen attentively. Look at the picture of what is happening here. What is the name of the festival? And where was this picture taken? Look at your screen attentively. Look at what is happening. The Mridanga, Srila Prabhupada is sitting down, devotees are sitting. There's a lot of crowds of people that have gathered. What is happening here? And moving forward. Now, here are 3 sections. In these 3 sections, 4 options that is being presented to you. Now, what is this picture and where was it taken? You have to type fast. Is it taken? No, question A, option A, the Hare Krishna festival across Made in Bombay. Option B, Ratha Yatra at 𝐤𝐴𝐺 Juhu. Option C, Sankirtan festival at Moscow, Russia. Option D, Ratha Yatra at San Francisco, United States of America, USA. All right, now we're moving forward to our second question. Okay, the question is coming up in a few, while at the minute where it is coming up, so get yourself more ready and listen very, very attentively. Okay, so you see the polls are coming in and everyone is typing, everyone is putting their question. And also to you, our viewers on YouTube and on Facebook, please do not forget to also type in your questions. Do not worry, just type in your questions, put in your name. The gift is going to be given to you. Don't worry yourself. So please follow and participate in this beautiful exercise. And Srila Prabhupada is going to be more pleased. Okay, so the answer to this first question is option A, Hare Krishna festival at Cross Maiden, Bombay. So if you typed option A, congratulations to each and every one of you. To you, Matajis, to you, Prabhus, congratulations. So don't worry, your name has been taken down. A special gift is going to come your way, but it's not yet over until you see the third question. Now, this is the second question, and the second question goes as this. It is a visual question, so listen attentively and look at everything in the visual attentively.
We remember him playing in those places because he was constantly visiting them.
Therefore, Mahabharata text that this Krishna Lila is Maya. They're surprised how God can be affectionate like this. He's nirbhika, without any attachment. They cannot understand.
We remember him
attentively, watch closely. Yes. Which philosophy is Srila Prabhupada speaking about? And what is the name of this famous bish that the Srila Prabhupada is? And we have 4 options here again for each and every one of you. The first option is option A, Sahajiya philosophy at Laguna Beach, California, United States. Option B, Mayavada philosophy at Newport Beach, California. Option C, Mayavada philosophy at Juhu Beach, India. And option D, Achintya Beda philosophy at Digba Beach, Mayapur, India. All right, so type in your question, type in your answers, the first on the key, wherever it is you are, don't worry. Also, you, our viewers again on Facebook, if you are joining us new, or if you are just joining us in our Zoom, please follow the answers, follow the questions, and don't worry, there's wonderful, wonderful presents and beautiful gift prize awaiting you at the end of the section. A spiritual gift, not just any kind of gift, a spiritual gift that will motivate your heart. All right, and the answer is in and is locked, everybody. The answer to the question is in and is locked, and the answer is option C. Srila Prabhupada is speaking on Mayavada philosophy, and where? At Juhu Beach, India. So to you that typed in Mayavada philosophy, to you that typed in option C, congratulations to you, yay! You did it. Don't worry, it's not yet over until it is over. Now, this is the final question for today in our quiz, and the question goes as follows. It's a visual question, so please listen and watch attentively. Okay, now, Srila Prabhupada is looking at the deities. Now, the question is, name the famous deities of Srila Prabhupada. Name these famous deities that Srila Prabhupada is praying to. What is the name of these famous these deities that Srila Prabhupada is praying to? And so watch carefully, look at the attires of the deities, look at the face of the deities, and yes, the questions are in and the options are here. And the option A is Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda Ji. Option B is Sri Sri Radha Londonishwara Ji. Option C, it is Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ji. And option D, Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari Ji. So name the famous deities, this famous deity that Srila Prabhupada is praying to, that is so dear to the heart of Srila Prabhupada. What is the name of these deities? So you have the 4 options here. To you, our viewers on Facebook and on YouTube, please type in your answers, type them in the comment section, and it is going to be read out to you at the end of the section. And so good, the polls are here. I believe each and every one of you are able to see the polls, and you are also be able to cast your individual vote according to your answers that you feel this is the deities that Srila Prabhupada is praying to. And don't worry again, there is a wonderful spiritual gift for you. And the answers are in and they are locked in. And the answer to this question is option D, Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari Ji. Srila Prabhupada was praying to the deities of Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari Ji in Mumbai, India, precisely Juhu. So congratulations to you again. These answers correctly. We've come to the end of the quiz section, and now we're moving forward to the program as we proceed forward. And again, to you, all our viewers that is watching us live on Facebook, that is watching us live on YouTube, don't worry, just type in your questions, type in your answers. The answers are going to be read out to you later, and the winner is going to be called later. Everyone is a winner in Krishna consciousness. There's no one that is a loser. We are all winners. But just to stimulate you a bit here and there, to make you more, get up, yeah, Jai Srila Prabhupada. That is why these quizzes have been made. It's not like not to be able to bring down anyone's intellectual understanding or stuff like that, but it's just to be able to help us to get more engaged, in this online Vyasa Puja celebration of Srila Prabhupada, organized by His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj. So now we're moving on to our next speaker for today, in the presence of our Grace Chantal Mataji. And Chantal Mataji, as you all know, Chantal Mataji is an aspiring disciple of His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, but also she's a Shiksha disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj. Mataji is a very humble, gentle devotee among the disciple cycles of His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Maharaj. She is well much into technology, and she helps Maharaj in doing services for Maharaj as part of the technical teams of Maharaj. So Mataji, we're very, very grateful to have you here with us today. The screen is all yours, and Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I will just read my offering. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to your divine grace. Please accept my offering to you on your 125th appearance day. It has been a few years since I first heard from you, and I feel I learned something new about you every day. My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj says, "How shall I take shelter of someone more merciful than you? Yet I am still trying to understand the depth and glories of your mercifulness. I heard a pastime where a young man visited you on 26th 2nd Avenue in New York in 1966. You told him that, just come with us. We will solve all of your problems. But he was reluctant and he started moving backwards and out of the door. But you held the door and you spoke to him. With a speck of tear in your eye, please come back. This was how much you wanted to give Krishna consciousness to the entire world, each and every soul. Guru Maharaj says that this is how you preached to the Indian people as well in Bombay when you came in Bombay for the first time by saying Dante Nidhaya Trinakam Padeo Nipatya, which means by taking a straw between my teeth, I appeal to you, O intelligent people, please chant Hare Krishna. From the unlimited ocean of divine nectarian pastimes, I love one of them the most, where His Holiness Srila 𝐶𝐻𝐿 Maharaj, he had a dream while he was in a hospital. He was having an operation, and you were so worried that you were so worried for him that you went to the hospital to check on him. When he woke up, you were right by his side. He said, Prabhupada, I had a dream while they were doing the operation. I dreamt that you were giving a report to your Guru Maharaj and all the members of the disciplic succession, or disciplic line. You were reporting on your activities here on this planet. They asked you how everything was, and you said that you had studied the people of this planet. And as far as you were concerned, you said they have no good qualities. They are not pious or austere or capable of studying or learning anything. Prabhupada, you said ahead that the only thing is that somehow or the other, some of them have been able to take shelter of my lotus feet. Whatever I say, they accept. And in this way, they are becoming redeemed. After hearing this from Maharaj, you smiled and nodded in approval. And you said, actually, this is a fact. When someone asked you that, Swamiji, can you show us any miracle? You told them that you have converted all these Western people into high-class Vaishnavas. That is my miracle. That is, you said like that. But that is the miracle. That is the biggest miracle. We cannot comprehend the depth of your personality, Srila Prabhupada. We have never seen you with our eyes. But this year, I realized that I have seen your miracle. When I was a child and I was wondering who is Krishna, I stumbled upon a short audio of yours from the Vani Media lecture series, and I was captivated by your words and your singing of the Vandeham prayers and the Mahamantra. I searched more and I heard you more, and I heard you singing the Hare Krishna Kirtan and its purport that begins like this transcendental vibration by chanting Hare Krishna is the sublime method of reviving our Krishna consciousness. And it goes on. At that moment, with whatever understanding I had, I admitted to myself that this is the personality who is speaking the highest truth to us. He is not hiding anything, and he is ready to give us Krishna. This is how you took me right away, right under your soothing shelter. This is how I know that you are still present and showing us your miracles. When we listen to the Hare Krishna Kirtan Vayu, it feels like a call in some secret language which calls upon the souls to rise and awaken their consciousness. And we see how people respond to that even today. This is how I know that you're still present here and you're showing us your miracles. This year, I also learned to pray to you constantly, as I could see how you reciprocated to my prayers unto you that I made at the Srila Prabhupada Samadhi Mandir in Vrindavan. I saw each and every one of my prayers getting answered. This is how I know that you're still present here and you're showing us your miracles. I was such a degraded person, and like that, there were so many people around me. I saw how you changed all of our lives, Srila Prabhupada. People who were addicted to so many different forms of sense gratification are now addicted to kirtans, reading Shastra, worshipping deities, preparing bhoga for deities, and serving Vaishnavas. This is how I know that you're still present here and you're showing us your miracles. This is how I know that Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit Katha is still going on. He's still turning hippies into happies. My Siksha Guru, His Holiness Bhakti Damodara Swami Maharaj, once said that it is only by the potency of Srila Prabhupada's pure devotion and his mercy that we are able to maintain our devotion. So thank you for everything, Srila Prabhupada. Please always keep me in the shelter of my spiritual masters and let me serve them with full devotion. Please bless me that I can truly satisfy you and I can satisfy them and please them at least once in my life. This way, I would be able to serve you and my life would be successful. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna ji, thank you very, very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I think there's some technical glitch in Shukdev Prabhu's end. So we'll continue. So now I think he's joining. Hare Krishna. So now we have a musical offering. We have a video by Srila Prabhupada. Here it is on your screens, a musical offering for Prabhupada, by Prabhupada.
We have no new discovery. We don't manufacture. This is our process. We simply follow the predecessor's instruction. That's it. Our movement is very easy because we haven't got to manufacture something. We simply repeat the words and the instruction given by the predecessor. Krishna instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narad, Narad instructed Vyasa, Vyasa instructed Madhyacharya, and in this way then Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis, then the Srinivasa Acharya, Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then we are doing the same thing. There is no difference. That is the specific procedure of the Krishna consciousness movement. You are singing daily Guru Mukha Padma Vakka Chittete Koriya Oiko. Arna Koriya Mane As. Very simple thing. We are receiving the transcendental knowledge through Guru Parampara, succession. So we have to simply take instruction from Guru, and if we execute that to our heart and soul, that is success. That is practical. I have no personal qualification, but I simply try to satisfy my Guru. That's all.
Hare Krishna. Indeed, a very wonderful and beautiful video, which still makes us Prabhupada's presence felt. Thank you so much. And now we have another video offering by Bhakt Renato Prabhu and his family. It's a offering, video offering. So here it is on your screen.
Vyasa Puja de Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Uma pessoa qualquer não poderia ter feito o trabalho espetacular que o Senhor fez. Vossa santidade herdou a misericórdia do Senhor 𝐃𝐴𝐻𝐿 e do Senhor Nityananda. Uma missão feita com coração puro, foi isso que o Senhor fez. O mundo agora tem mais uma chance, graças ao Senhor Krishna, que o enviou e ao Senhor. Assim como a pessoa suprema o transformou em sua marionete, transforme-nos em suas marionetes, para que possamos tentar seguir em frente com o seu trabalho. Se não fosse o Senhor, Srila Prabhupada, será que hoje eu seria vegetariana? Teria cuidado com os animais? Saberia que sou uma alma eterna, plena de bem-aventurança, eternamente jovem? Eu acho que não. Não consegue agradecê-lo como deveria. O trabalho que o Senhor fez de zelar por nossos corações e almas, entregar a todos o tesouro dos tesouros, os passatempos do Senhor. O mundo está em dívida com vossa santidade, mas você sempre foi misericordioso conosco. Almas caídas, que nem ao menos conseguem agradecê-lo como deveríamos. Graças a ti, ó libertador das almas, devoto puro do Senhor, hoje posso ter a chance de me conhecer, me libertar desse cativeiro material e ir de encontro com a pessoa suprema. Mesmo que eu não tenha visto pessoalmente, você está em seus livros, na memória de seus discípulos, em Goloka, junto com Radha e Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Thank you so much for such a heart-touching offering. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and the entire family. Thank you so much. And now we have one more video coming up by His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, speaking about spiritual masters of the spiritual masters. Thank you.
I had been involved with many different gurus and yogis, and I had taken initiation from different spiritual masters. But the interesting thing is that I had met one spiritual master who taught me for about almost 3.5 years. But he always told me that he was not my guru. So one day I took initiation from Sri 𝐤𝐬𝐢. And then I came back and saw this previous teacher. And I mentioned how I found my guru now. He's given me initiation, and he explains and says that he is a Jagat Guru. So this first teacher kind of laughed. And he said, he's only a Mayavadi. And then he began to explain what the Mayavadism is and personalism. And he went on to say, do you really want to know who the Jagat Guru is? Now, by now he had let me know that that meant a very highly evolved spiritual teacher, a teacher of teachers. And so he paused, and then he asked me again. He said, do you really want to know? And by the time I was getting a little nervous, but I was more curious. And so then he asked the third time. He says, do you really want to know? And I says, yes. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master of the Hare Krishna movement. Now, during these 3.5 years where he was previously teaching me, every now and then, and he was teaching me what's called Raja Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, a lot of kind of metaphysical things. But again, he would always say, I'm not your guru. But every now and then he would say something or explain something, but he would say, but Prabhupada says like this, or Prabhupada has done like this. And I thought Prabhupada was maybe his uncle or some friend of his. And so when he mentioned that name again, it rang a bell. And he says, you know, when he told me that Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master of the Hare Krishna movement, I was devastated. Because I had saw the devotees 2 different times. And I saw that, I thought they were very weird, unusual. And I was thinking, you mean those people who wear the bed sheets? Who put war paint on their face? And go around jumping down in the streets with tennis shoes on and mismatched socks? You mean they are connected with something that is very advanced, very high? He said, their spiritual master is a spiritual master of spiritual masters. And they have the higher knowledge on the planet. But now once, a couple of years later, I saw that same teacher. And I wanted to ask him some questions, and ask him a few questions. And he became furious, very furious. He said, you have met the spiritual master of the universe. And now you're coming back to me, asking me questions. He said, you're not going to get me to make offenses to such great soul. He said when Srila Prabhupada came to America, there were many, and these are his words, spiritual teachers who knew of his calling and who should have assisted him. He said, I stopped teaching when Prabhupada came to America. Then he began to explain, I taught you all of these things because I saw you were so entangled, so interested in such things, and I realized that this would help you in your service with Prabhupada in the future. He said, now, you leave here and don't you ever come back again.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such an inspiring verse. Thank you so much. And now our much awaited time quiz results. So here we are. Any guesses, anyone? Who is the winner of our quiz? Winner of our quiz, top 3 winners. of our quiz number 1, question 1. Any guesses, anybody? So our first winner is His Grace Radha Madhav Das. And our second winner for question number 1, quiz number 1 is Shesha Das. And our third winner is His Grace Matsya Das. Congratulations to all the first winners of quiz 1. And now we have winners for our question 2, quiz 2. Our winners for quiz 2 is, the first winner of our quiz 2 is Shesha Das. And our second winner is His Grace Radha Madhav Das. And our third winner is Her Grace Madhuri Radha Mataji. Congratulations once again to all the 3 winners. And the winners of our quiz 3, question 3 winners are question number 1, winner Sakshi Das. Our second winner is Radha Madhav Das. And our third winner is Shesha Das. Congratulations to all the 3 winners. Congratulations once again. Now, I would like to invite His Holiness Bhakti Di Damodara Maharaj to conclude our sessions. Maharaj, please.
It's okay. The sound is also fine. No, if you're speaking. Hare Krishna. Okay, huh? You know, Krishna Hare Krishna Puja Bhutale Samati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pachavani Rebhisesa Sunyavadi Parsatya Vesatana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. We are very grateful to His Holiness 𝐤𝐬𝐳 Maharaj for such a wonderful nectar He has given. He's showing us, and coming to Srila Prabhupada, he was able to detect exactly the position of Srila Prabhupada. Among all the people he saw Prabhupada to be very effulgent. Effulgent, and so Prabhupada was able to see directly into the heart. Not just the question he asked. He asked a question, but the answer Prabhupada gave was completely to what he has in his mind. He is so direct, so powerful, and that break all the barriers which were there, and he gave his life to Srila Prabhupada. It is, Maharaj has showed how it is not difficult to understand what is right. The truth is so glaring, so clear, so clean that if one is very, very sincere, immediately you get it. So Prabhupada knows what his followers, his one special master has sent to him. And he knows just what the special master, that he was able to see through that this is my Guru. The fault he found in all other people he had passed to him, never see that fault in Prabhupada. Never. There was no single doubt within him. It was very, very clear. And he also will say His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj is for giving us his own vision of meeting Prabhupada. So sweet, so clean. And we can see the potency of Srila Prabhupada, and by looking at also the kind of disciples he has brought to this movement, and how much they have dedicated their life in presenting Krishna consciousness. Sri 𝐤𝐬𝐳 Maharaj was saying, when Prabhupada was physically present, so he was bringing people. But when Prabhupada physically departed, so he was thinking, then what should I do? What should I do again? Where will I take people to? Then he realized that it's the same thing. Physical presence and physical absence doesn't make any difference. It's here, doing the same people. By following the instruction Prabhupada has given, by preaching the philosophy Prabhupada has given, by living exemplary life that Prabhupada has given, it's also representing Mr. Prabhupada. And everything goes very smoothly. And we don't see that the spiritual master is not present. The spiritual master is always present. And the brilliant answer he gave to the question he was asked, one of the questions. Following Srila Prabhupada representatives is as good as following Prabhupada. It's the same thing following Prabhupada, because we are all representing Srila Prabhupada. So whatever we do to the representative of Prabhupada is to Prabhupada. Just like whatever we do to Prabhupada, it is to Krishna. Similarly, whatever
Hare Krishna. I think there is some technical glitch from Maharaj ends. We'll wait for a few seconds for Maharaj. Thank you so much. We'll just wait for Maharaj.
Sorry for the disconnection. Yes. So we are very, very grateful to all the devotees who participated, and all of you have organized this and make it a success. Getting our chariot to speak to us is so nice. This is Krishna consciousness, and this is how we should spend our life. So we should continue this kind of festival so that devotee will remain fixing our Krishna consciousness. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are really grateful to you, Maharaj, really grateful to you. And we show our gratitude to you by giving us this opportunity to celebrate Prabhupada, to celebrate this wonderful event with all of us. So thank you so much, Maharaj. We are really grateful to you. Before we close for the day, we can have a quick look at the schedule for tomorrow. Here it is on your screen. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow we are going to start our schedule by talk by His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj, Back to Basics 1. followed by musical offerings, the day he came, and second, Mahamantra. After that, we are going to have offerings by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, followed by Prabhupada Speaks. Prabhupada is going to speak tomorrow, and after that, again, we'll continue with the second part of the offering by grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And last but not the least, first counter with his divine grace by His Holiness Bhakti 𝐸𝐴 Damodara. Bhakti 𝐸𝐴 Swami Maharaj. Indeed, it is going to be a very interesting session. So please don't miss out. Stay tuned, stay connected with us for tomorrow's session. Looking forward for the huge participation of each and every devotee. Thank you so much. We thank everybody present here for actively participating and being here with us today for this session. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So tomorrow the time is 2 p.m. IST. And we are really grateful to our guest speaker, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. We are really grateful to him for sharing his words, his experience. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much, all the dear devotees. Thank you so